Hello, Liberty. My name is Ken, and I serve as your missions pastor at libertylive.church. And this is Jonathan DeMonch.
Hey guys,
And Jonathan, how do you serve here at Liberty?
I am the local missions pastor for the Hampton campus.
And we're so glad you decided to join us today. You know, what we desire to do today is make this an informational meeting for you. We want to share some things that are coming in the future for Liberty Missions. But you know what? That doesn't mean that everything we share that we're done. I mean, there could be more stuff. We're adding more stuff all the time. Your campuses may be adding some more things. And so this is just to get us started for this year. And you know what? I do want to say a big shout out. Pastor's going to talk about it, but you guys killed it in Lottie Moon. Man, you just did an amazing job. We want to say thank you. And 2022 has been an amazing year. But I really think 2023 is even going to be better. And so, do you think so, Jonathan?
I
think
totally.
so too. You know, I want to start off first by talking a little bit about local missions, and that's what we're going to do today. But first, I want to share a little bit about our philosophy. You know, our missions department, we have a great team. I'm so excited. We've just added a new assistant to our team, and she's doing a great job. Her name is Lorraine, and hopefully you'll be able to talk to her this year and get information from her and everything. But you know what? Our philosophy here at Liberty is, Jonathan, we want to prepare a few things for everybody to do, don't we?
That's right.
We want to get them ready. And so we do some events that we schedule and we do for each campus. And they're open to the whole campus, but you know what? We can't do it all. Even though I got a great team, we cannot do it all. And so our philosophy is that we want to see our people go out into the community, go out into the world, because you know what? You can penetrate places that an event would never penetrate. You can reach people that will never set foot in the door of a church. And so our philosophy is we want to do some things and we want to be out in the community and we want to lead out in that.
That's right.
But we also want you to do that. And so, Jonathan, you know, when we talk about that, it's hard for people to envision what that looks like.
Yeah.
But sometimes it can look like as little as something like you go help mow a person's lawn that can't mow their own lawn.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think you've kind of can tell us a little bit about some ideas that you've had where they can find out new ideas about how they can go out into the community and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like you're saying, Ken, you know, as a church, we go fishing for men with nets and with fishing poles.
Right.
So sometimes we can have those big events, we can do the church-wide thing, but we really encourage you also to go out there with your pole sometimes and snag your neighbor or your coworker or somebody you just met off the street. You know, so there are plenty of things you can do. Like I like to say this whenever I'm with the online guys, like just going and throwing some coins in the coin laundry for somebody and just saying, God bless you. Or picking a little league team that you want to bring some Gatorades for or ministering to on a regular basis. We had some moms, their sons were graduating high school and they were like, you know what, this is the year that we really have a chance to penetrate and to be able to pray for our teams and pour into these young men and women and sports teams before they go off into college or they go off into the real world. So there's a lot of different things that you can do. And all you got to do is go to libertylive.church, our website, /local missions. And you'll see a list of ideas, list of things, even list of partners that we love here at Liberty that you can partner with to get some things done for the kingdom of God.
And you know what? We want to know about what you're doing. I mean, we're not looking. In all honesty, we're not looking for any kind of praise on that end, or we're not trying to embarrass anybody. But you know what? If you're doing something, it is so cool to hear what you're doing.
That's right.
And getting out into the community. And so in the notes there at the bottom, we're going to have an email address that you can write to and just send a couple of pics.
Yep.
And we would love to share those because you know what? That's motivation for other people that are getting out there. And we're going to talk about groups in a little bit, but just let me say this. Groups, you can be so effective out there. Quick story, we had a gentleman one time that joined a program we called Adopt a Community. And we challenged our small groups to go out in the community and adopt an area of Hampton Roads. And one class did it, and they did a great job. They ended up adopting senior adult living home, and they just reached them with the gospel. They took in Pastor Grant's sermon they had Sunday there.
I like the
And
story.
one gentleman came up to me one day, and I thought he was mad at me. I thought he was mad at me. And he came up and he goes, this adopted community thing. And I said, yeah. You're kind of waiting for it to go on. He goes, when it first started, I just didn't like it. I don't know. I didn't know much about it. I didn't like it at all. And I go, yeah. And he goes, you know what? He goes, now I can't live without it. He said it's been the most rewarding, fulfilling thing. And so groups, we encourage you to find those ways in your community to help out. And of course, like Jonathan said, you can go on our website.
That's right.
So without further ado, let's jump into what we're doing. We're going to start local ministry with the Hampton campus. And Jonathan, you've got a whole load of stuff. Tell us a little bit about ESL. What's going on there? What do we do? And explain what ESL stands for.
Yes. ESL stands for English as a Second Language. Basically, Ken, for so many years, for over 30 years, you've worked and advocated to getting people out there into the world to minister the gospel. But one thing that we see here in the United States and in Hampton Roads is the world is coming to us.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we have an opportunity, since they're a part of our community now, they're in our grocery stores, in our neighborhoods, just a part of us, a part of the fabric of our society. They're learning the culture and learning English.
Yeah.
So we have an opportunity to teach them English and to share the love of Christ with our neighbors by teaching them this. So you don't have to know another language. As a matter of fact, it's almost better that you don't.
You don't want to learn
because then you'll be like, super eager to talk to them in that language. I have that problem.
Yeah. That's why we don't let him teach.
Yeah. So, if you don't have to be a teacher or have a master's degree, we just teach you a few critical skills to apply to the English that you already know, and you're able to help these people grow leaps and bounds. We pray before every class. A Bible is a part of the materials in the curriculum that we use to teach the gospel. As a matter of fact, Ken, you know what God did? He gave us our own apartment among an international refugee community. We only paid $1 down payment, and we have that classroom 24/7 to use to reach that community with the gospel.
And this is in Newport News, and I'll tell you, brag on this team. They have already seen a lady and her daughter come from a Muslim background in a country I'm not going to mention, but it's a country that they would be persecuted, and if they, as believers and stuff. But they're not believers yet. But it's one of those type countries. And she has been bringing her daughter. Her daughter loves Kidville. Yeah. They go to ESL, but they've also been coming to Liberty, and I've had a chance to meet them, and it's really cool to see fruit being born and
smile
stuff
on
like
their faces every Sunday.
Oh man, one of the bigger things that you do, Jonathan, as far as volume on the Hampton campus is y'all do a food drive. I believe.
My goodness.
We do it once a month, right? Tell us a little bit about that and how people can join that.
Yeah. So get this, Ken. Pre-COVID, you remember we saw maybe tops like 40 families a month. With our food drive that we used to do. And also we did another huge food drive once a year where we saw hundreds of people during acts of love. And those were amazing times. But God opened up a door where we literally feed hundreds of people every single month. Families come from all over and they get food. And what's great is right after they go through the food lines and get their produce and their meats and everything else, there's a prayer station at the end, where they have an opportunity to come and pray.
That's awesome.
And I love the ministry that takes place there, because you start off registering, and those ladies are so nice and pouring in and learning, some of the people there. And then you go through, and the prayers that we got, they used to just be simple prayers like, oh, I'll pray for my family. Oh, I'll pray for whatever. But now they're very specific. Wow. My son is in jail and he feels very alone, or so-and-so is addicted to whatever and I've been praying for them, or I'm just not feeling God in this season, or I need a financial breakthrough. And not just are the prayers becoming more specific, but the prayers are being answered. And they're coming back and sharing those testimonies, all in a food drive.
Tell them how they can be involved.
Go to libertylive.church/missions, or local missions, but also, once again, email missions@libertylive.church. That's our email address. If you want to be a part of this group, man, I'm telling you, they are stellar volunteers, and I want you to be a part of that live team. So missions@libertylive.church.
And we've got something coming up that we just did for the first time this year, and it's coming up again. I'm sorry, we did the first time in 2022 at Christmas, but we're doing it again this year. And why are we telling you now? Well, we want to get you ready because you know what? This is the toy drive, and I'll get Jonathan to tell you a little bit about that. But we want you to be thinking through the whole year. You know what? You may see a toy on sale, and it may be half price, or you may want to pick that up now and say, you know what? I'm putting this aside for a child in the Hampton Roads area that may need a toy. But tell them a little bit about the toy drive.
Absolutely, absolutely. So every year, like we always give like hundreds of kids toys, but this is the first year, like Ken mentioned, we did something church-wide where everyone could participate. Usually it's just one-off, but we had an opportunity for volunteers to come in to share the word in the community. And what I loved was the volunteers, they came, they donated toys. Then we set up everything in one big room, and the parents had an opportunity to come and pick the toys for their kids. So they had that dignity. And as their gifts were being wrapped, right, because you kind of got to sit and wait, right?
Yeah.
So we were actually sharing the gospel with them.
Wow.
And just reminding them of the reason for the season, the reason why we give gifts and celebrate Christmas in the first place.
Yeah.
And so much ministry. This one woman, man, it blows me away. She was literally thinking about taking her life, Ken.
Oh, wow.
Because she did not know how she was going to continue to support her family, let alone give them Christmas gifts.
Wow.
And she just felt so hopeless. But she just, when she came here, just the love that she felt and just the empowerment and encouragement and prayer, she said she walked out here not feeling that way, and she surely did have a smile on her face and felt joy.
Yeah. Man, that's awesome. There's so many people in needs that we don't know about. Jonathan, we're going to go quickly here through, let's do the adoption. Tell us a little bit about the adoption conference. We don't have a date for that yet, or do we have a date?
Yeah, we just got the date.
We have a date.
March 10th.
March 10th.
March 10th, 2023.
There you go.
Yep, we're just going to have basically an informational meeting. There's quite a bit of controversy and misconceptions about adoption, foster care, respite care, and we want to dispel some of those, Ken.
Yeah.
Did you know that if every single church adopted one child, that there would be no more kids in the adoption system
And you're
in the
talking
state of
church,
Virginia?
not family.
That's correct.
You're talking church.
I'm
if
talking
one
church.
person from that church adopted.
That's right. There would be no more kids in the foster
Liberty,
care
you've
system.
done your job because we've got way more
We've got a
adopted
few,
kids,
right?
which is awesome. I love it. Let's move on to the international ministry. Jonathan mentioned this earlier, how a lot of people are moving here. And just a quick stat that we use in missions. Did you know that 40% of the world's leaders who become presidents in other countries, they are trained right here in America in our universities and stuff. Wow. Did you know that 85% of them never get in an American home, that people don't invite them in? And so we have a great opportunity with internationals moving in here.
We sure do.
Tell us a little bit about international ministry.
Absolutely. Ken, and when you say that, it reminds me of the missions conference. You say this all the time. Some of the mission strategies that we use overseas,
absolutely,
we find ourselves using them back home as well.
Absolutely.
So one of the things that a missionary shared is when she's stateside, she would go into the international aisle, and it wouldn't be 10 seconds, and she'd find a woman there that she's able to talk to and serve with. So we do the same thing here. There's a lot. This is a multi-ethnic church. So a lot of believers from a lot of different backgrounds. Absolutely. I myself and my wife, our families are originally from Haiti.
And I'm from Texas.
That's it.
So some think that's a foreign country.
So we find other Haitians out here. And for our Indian members, there are other Indian believers and people that are not believers that they want to reach out to and serve. So we give them an opportunity to do that.
Right.
One of the greatest things that our deacons came up with, a deacon that has an Indian background, he wanted a way to get other religious groups from different ethnic backgrounds to the church. And what he decided was, what if I invite them to have an American experience of Christmas and Easter. So he would invite them to church during those times,
Right.
and then invite them to his house for dinner. But it began to be way too many people, and so he asked us to start using the church, and we did. Now we're outgrowing some of the rooms. We're gonna have to start meeting in bigger rooms.
Yeah, we had like 90 people here.
Yeah,
Something
yeah.
on the last one.
Yep.
You know, and you get all kinds of people. I mean, this is run through Jonathan and our deacon, but you know, I met a guy who was from a country that you would never think. He was one of the few PhDs out of that country, and he's here working at I think the accelerator or NASA.
Yeah.
And I was just blown away at the variety of people from the variety of countries, backgrounds, and educational levels that come to this, and it's pretty cool.
You know what I love, Ken? So he's like way out there with his like physics, right?
Oh,
Super
yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah.
But we had another church member from another ethnic background that had a doctorate in a very similar degree.
Oh, is that right?
So he was able to witness to him
Oh, wow.
in a language that we couldn't.
That we're like,
Right. It was in English, but you know, a lot of math and science.
Yeah. Well, let's move on. You have a homeless ministry that's working right now also to reach homeless people.
Absolutely. Our homeless ministry is great. They've been running for years, even before I got here. And basically, it's all grassroots. They just saw a need and they met it. They feed the homeless hot meals every second Saturday. And as they're eating, they share the gospel with them.
Okay.
Those that don't have coats or means to get a few other essentials, they help provide some of those things and just love on them that way.
Well, I'm going to jump to the diaper drive and then come back to the other one real quick. But we have a diaper drive.
Yeah.
When is that coming?
So we're doing that in conjunction with Missions May.
Okay.
So,
okay, we'll go jump in and tell us about Missions May, 'cause
absolutely.
that was the next one.
So last year, the groups director had a great idea of just getting all the groups to be involved in missions during the month of May.
Right.
And he called it Missions May, and I was like, you know what? Man, let's partner and do that again next year. So not just are we going to be going in with groups with Missions May, but we're going to make it a church-wide thing and provide that for everyone. And we're going to have low-hanging fruit. We'll give you ideas where you can do things. We'll partner with other organizations. But another piece of low-hanging fruit is going to be the diaper drive. Last time we did a diaper drive, it was wildly successful.
Yeah, we had more diapers than we had space, and
That we had babies.
we had babies to give them out to, and we appreciate y'all. Y'all stepped up in an incredible way.
Oh,
so
yeah.
that was amazing.
Oh, yeah. So we're going to do that again this May.
Okay. Well, let's move on. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the other campuses. You know, if you have any questions on the Hampton campus, you can call us here. You can write to missions@libertylive.church, or you can talk to Jonathan, or Lorraine Peralt is our missions assistant. She works with us. Or Brittany Davis right now, she's our School of Ministry person, and they are a great team. They're doing some great stuff. But I want to touch base about Greenbrier also.
Oh, yeah.
Greenbrier does some great things. All of our campuses are working great. But here's what I want you to understand also. On our campuses, Hampton has a missions pastor on this campus because of the size. At the other campuses, they don't have a designated missions pastor, let's say. But you know what? They have you. And really, people that are in the community can come up with ideas. And so I'm going to encourage you, before I get into what's already going on, I'm going to encourage you, go talk to your campus pastor and say, you know what? I think this would be a great idea. And you know what? They're going to join with you in that, because I know they're looking for people that will reach out in the community. And so we encourage you to do that. Greenbrier will be going to Operation Blessing. Operation Blessing is part of the CBN family, and a couple of people that work there. As a matter of fact, the leader of all that is a member over at Harborview, does a great job. He is the leader there. But you know what? The offices are over there by Greenbrier. And so they are able to go out and pack for families in need, and they do it every so often. Also, they work with, the Greenbrier campus works in the B.M. Williams Primary School, and they collect hats and gloves for situations in need. So if you want to be a part of that, I encourage you to contact Mindy over there at the Greenbrier campus, and she'll be able to tell you all about it and get you started on the right track. Harborview, you guys are doing great. We appreciate you. On Thursday, February the 9th, they'll be working with Operation Blessing Warehouse also, because both of them are fairly close to that. They're all invited. That'll be from 1:30 to 3:30 on a Thursday, and we realize That's a lot of you are working and stuff like that. But we encourage you, anybody that wants to go to that, to contact Debbie Mitchell. You can just call our offices, ask for Debbie Mitchell at the Harborview campus, and she'll be able to help you. Gloucester's got it going on. They'll be going to help the homeless. There's opportunities for them. They go out, they pack food bags, they do distribution. You know what I love about their ministry? One of the things that we're very, I guess I'll say we're very passionate about is we don't want to keep the homeless people homeless. Some ministries around the country, if you look at them, all they do is end up helping those people stay homeless. They give them this, they give them that, and the homeless people don't have to do anything. But this ministry that they work with over in Greenbrier, they seek to help move them out of this, out of homelessness. I know there's a ministry down in Virginia Beach that Greenbrier campus has worked with also, and you know what? They're fantastic. They work with saying, hey, if you want out of this, we've got a job training program, we've got this, we've got that, and so they help them move them out of that. And that's what I love about what's going on over at the Gloucester campus. They also do guest work. They do with another different ministry. They help them in a different way, and they collect items so that when those people move out of those, they can have a place to live. So they help them find microwaves, furniture, and different things like that. So the first one is help the homeless. The next one is guest. And then this last one over at Gloucester is really cool. It's River Bend Tutoring. And they have a volunteering opportunity to tutor children. We've done that at various campuses around the community, and it's a great place. They do it at a Bible study in the apartments, and they work with the kids there. Guys, this is such an important ministry, and that way it gives you a one-on-one. So if you're at the Greenbrier campus, you can talk to the campus pastor, or Judy there can help you out and help you find out what's going on and stuff like that. And you know what? If we didn't mention your campus, we just encourage you to go talk to your campus pastor. One campus pastor said, you know what, we're doing these things, but we are slam full. And so he goes, I don't know that I can take anymore. And so that may be a cue for you to go talk to your campus pastor and say, you know what, you're slam full on that one, but maybe we should do this. And so I'm sure they would want to talk to you and stuff like that. And every campus is doing something. So just because we don't have specifics on those, be sure and go talk to your campus pastor.
You know, we are not short of any ministry opportunities
That's right.
in Hampton Roads. But Ken, I'd love to hear what's going on internationally with some of our partners.
Yeah, let me share a little bit of that. Really what we do in our missions philosophy is we're going to put some short 5-minute videos on there, and that'll give you a much better idea. They're real professionally done, and it shares a little bit about our strategy. But to really sum it up, the word nations in the Bible does not mean countries. It does not mean America or Pakistan. It doesn't mean geopolitical countries. It actually refers to ethnic groups. Mm-hmm. So when Jesus says, "Go ye therefore and make disciples of all the ethnic groups," then we want to obey that. We want to go to the ethnic groups. Did you know there are 3,000 ethnic groups around the world? And understand this, there may be 1,000 ethnic groups in one single geopolitical country like there is in India. So when it says go to those ethnic groups, it's saying we want you to penetrate those ethnic groups with the gospel. Did you know there's over 2.8 billion people around the planet that could walk for days and weeks and not find anybody to tell them about Jesus?
Wow.
So you know what, Jonathan? Years ago, we decided, you know what? We're in a military area with all the different militaries that go into places around the world, and they go in to make us safe. Well, you know what? I thought we need to be that military type church.
That's right.
And here's what I mean by that. We need to be the church that goes into places where the gospel doesn't exist.
Right.
And so we try to go into those least reached places. And you know what? They're not dangerous. I mean, we're not going to send you into crazy places and get you killed. But we do go to places where the gospel isn't shared much. And so that's our philosophy. That's our strategy. It's a biblical strategy. And we encourage you to look online and find out more about that. So
what are some dates and times? Like, you're getting me excited. Like, when can I go? Like, when are we?
That's great. You know what? We're going to start with our Navajo partnership. And you know what, Jonathan? Something I forgot to mention. We don't just do trips with everybody. Yeah. We just don't go, okay, we're going to go here this year. We have partnerships. And in those partnerships, we go deep and we go long. Like we were in one country in Africa for 18 years. We've been with the Navajo now for about 16 years. We've been in another Africa for 16 years. And we want to just invest in those ministries and go there, because when people go back on trips, they're like, you came back.
That's right.
You said you'd come back, and you did. I didn't believe
right.
you.
When
and
you
it
go,
opens the door.
When you go, you'll have some of the Native people there asking for other Liberty members.
Oh, yeah,
that have been
they
there.
will. Matter of fact, this is just stuff. I'm walking in a West African country, and of course, we at least I do. Jonathan, not as much, but I stand out as one of, there's not very many white people walking around, and this guy comes up to me in English and says, "Hey, do you know John Dickerson?" Yeah. And I just looked and said, "Well, yeah, I work with him." And so
what are the chances?
What a joy.
Yeah.
What a joy to hear that. So our first one, it's not our first one. We've got some that are going on now already. We've got a team leaving here in 2 weeks. Actually, my wife is on that to West Africa. That one's full. You can't. And then we've got one leaving to North Africa in March. And so that one's already going. It's too late to join that one. But you know what? We have a Navajo trip coming July the 14th through the 23rd. That's an incredible partnership we've had for many years, working with the Navajo people. They believe they have 47 gods, and when you tell them about Jesus, they'll just add number 48. And so getting to a point where we can help them understand that it's just Jesus, and that's unique, And so that's kind of cool. So
That's spectacular. So now, what about some of the other groups? Like I know students, they've been very active.
Students are incredible. You know what? Our students, when they go into some of these crazy places, Jonathan, they are fantastic. As a matter of fact, coming also July the 8th through the 15th, actually these two teams, the adult team and the student team, will cross paths. The York River campus students and the Greenbrier campus students, they're going to be going to the Navajo Nation, and they're going to be reaching some of the same kids that our adults will be working with. So it's kind of a continuous cycle. I love it.
So if you're a student, you have an opportunity to reach somebody your own age.
Absolutely. You'll be working with students your own age and kids that are younger also. And so you can talk to Chris and Morgan and find out more about that. Actually, it's already up on the website.
That's great.
It's already rocking and rolling. So
I love to see, Ken, when some of these kids come back from the mission trip.
Oh, yeah.
Like just how their lives have changed, and better yet, like how they incorporate missions into the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
Whether they become full-time missionaries or go into a work field where they can be missional.
Yeah.
Because of an experience they had.
Oh, it's been incredible. Students are incredible.
Yeah.
They really do a great
And
job.
the young adults, they're rocking it out too.
They are. The young adults, they're going to be going to Canada in June. We do not have a specific date yet. We have a call on Thursday of this week when this is being filmed to talk about that. And so we will be going up to Canada, be working in a neighborhood where they're in Toronto, where there are 35 apartment buildings, but there are 30,000 Muslims living there.
Wow.
From Pakistan and Afghanistan. We're going to be working there with them, just loving on them, sharing the gospel, and that's kind of cool.
That's
but you know
amazing.
what, Jonathan, I wanted to go back a little bit to students. The Hampton campus right now, they are going to be going to Fredericksburg to work with Impact Church.
That's right.
And they're going to be going up there, and the pastor and his wife grew up here at Liberty, but they're up there planting a church in the D.C. area, and so that's in the works also, and you'll be hearing more about that later and stuff like that. So if you're a student in one of your campuses, talk to your student pastor, and see what you want to do.
That's right. They got a lot of really neat things planned this year.
They do. Now, I can't stop with students, Jonathan. I'm sorry. I got to keep going.
Yeah.
I got to talk about our program, and you've been a part of it in the past, which is our 2414 program.
Oh, my gosh.
Man, this
Such
has
a
been the
good
most incredible thing. We took a year off.
Yeah.
But 2414 is named after Matthew 24:14. And the goal there is we train students for a year. We meet about once a month, and then we take them into one of these unreached people groups. And it's a safe, amazing country in Africa where you can walk freely on the streets and talk with Muslim people about Jesus.
That's right.
And guys, I'll tell you what, we get them in front of some of the world leaders in missions, like every student class before is gone, and been able to sit with my friend Nick Ripken and hear from him, talk to him, learn from him. We bring other people from our International Mission Board down to teach, and we give them a full spectrum, not just of international missions, But we want them to be, as they grow, like you said a while ago, to be adults going into just be missional in their lives. And so that sign up is coming up in late August, early September. We'll be signing up for that.
That's right. If you're a parent, talk to some of these other parents that have sent their kids way across the seas with Ken, and they'll tell you their kids come back different, very different, with a whole new understanding of the gospel, meaning of life, and just a whole different outlook.
As a matter of fact, it was interesting, and we forgot to mention this, and we can go back to it. But at one of our block parties, did you say block parties?
Not yet.
I forgot to cue you on that. That's my fault.
We'll talk about it.
But you know what? At one of our block parties at an apartment complex where there's a lot of internationals, I get a call from my assistant, says, you got to get up here. And I go up there, and our students who have been in 2414 are the only kids, and they're talking to all these Muslim ladies. And it was the most incredible thing to watch. They were not afraid. They were not scared. They'd been trained what to do, how to do it, and they're just having a blast. And I said, this made me cry.
Right.
Mention block parties. We forgot to say that. We're jumping backwards to local missions.
You could say we're saving the
best for
last. One of them anyway. So yeah, that's just spectacular, Ken. Just imagine your like it just being all too normal, all too natural for your kid to be sharing the gospel, like they talk about sports or anything else.
Yeah.
But block parties is one of the opportunities where kids have a chance to do that. And that block party season is basically March through October.
Yeah.
And we have a block party trailer that is outfitted with everything you need to throw a block party. It's basically a party in a box, is what we like to call it. And every year, every season, we kind of add a few more new things. And if you have any suggestions, we'll love to take it. Yeah, so it could be in a community that you're ministering to. It could be a local school. It could be in your own community, which is what we prefer, is to just for you to encourage and reach out to your neighbors and just say, hey, let's throw a block party. Let's have something where we can all get together.
And you know what? Along those lines, Jonathan, would fits right into it. Tell us a little bit about, now, this is a trip because you cross over to the Eastern Shore.
Right.
But you're doing a block party in August.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about who we're working with and why we're doing that.
Absolutely. So Saturday, August 12th.
And let me ask you this. Who's invited?
Who's invited? All campuses are invited.
All campuses are invited to that.
This last time we did it, we had a representative from every single campus there.
Oh, that is cool. I love seeing that.
And I would love to see that again. I want all the campuses there. But it was just an amazing opportunity to go to the Eastern Shore, Ken.
Yeah.
We used to go years and years ago.
We did.
But we revived that again to serve the migrant community that's out there on the Eastern Shore. And we not only had a block party, but we did a backpack drive. So just helping supply all their kids with school supplies that they'll need. And it was so much fun. I remember we were like, hey, who wants to see their pastor get baptized? And Ken, we put them in the dunk tank. And they nailed that thing like maybe 50 times.
I don't think that counts in the stats.
As baptism?
Baptism, you can't count that one, all right?
It was a good way to get them eager to do
pastor, so you got. But you know, some of you don't know this, but Jonathan, his mom and dad were born in Haiti.
Yeah.
He was born in New York, but guess what? He speaks Haitian, which is Creole, and he also speaks French. And
a little bit.
He speaks French. And so I've seen him in West Africa. He was with me. But, speaking of Africa, I want to tell you a little bit about the North Africa trip coming in September. It's a book bag trip. It'll be 9/15, which is September the 15th through the 23rd. This is one of our long-standing partnerships. The interesting thing about this, Jonathan, is these kids in this country cannot go to school unless they have supplies. And they're too poor up in the mountains to do that. So we collect supplies, we purchase supplies, and we go up and take them in there. It's a great trip. We highly encourage you to go on this and things like that. And let me jump in here and say this real quick. I've got it at the end of my notes, but I want to go ahead and say it.
Yeah.
Listen, you might be thinking, what does it take to go on a trip? Well, you do have to raise your funds. But you know what? We've never seen anybody that God has called that did what we asked them to do to go on a trip, their money being raised. Now, if God's blessed you financially and you got the money, we ask you to pay for that. Just pay for it yourself. But if you don't, and you say, God's called me and I don't get it, look, we've seen people come up and God has just blown them away. I remember a guy who was $40,000 in debt. He said, I can't afford to go. I said, is God telling you to go? And he said, yeah. I said, Let's work on it. And he said somebody came up and said, here's I don't even know you. I heard your situation. Here's $500 check, take off.
Wow.
His faith exploded. And so you do have to raise your money. But guys, we encourage you to do that. And you know what? If finances are a problem, come talk to me. If you're a first time, never been on a mission trip, we do have some scholarship money available for you. But you have to have not been on a mission trip ever in your life. And so we encourage you to come see us about that. And so, it's not, we haven't seen anybody turned away.
No.
We haven't.
You're a team, you plan together and encourage one another in going. So
Yeah. A few more coming up, Jonathan, I'll just mention real quickly is we are going to a brand new trip with some of the people from our church to Central Asia. Now, you ask me why I'm not mentioning the countries. We just don't mention them because security reasons, not because of us, not because of our teams going, but when we get there, people see who they are and they see the nationals working with them, and you would never get in any trouble, but those nationals, they can be persecuted. Some of them can lose their jobs and stuff like that, especially some of our translators. So we try to protect them and protect our missionaries that are living in those countries. We just want them to be protected. So you can come to me and talk to me about those. But we'll be going to Central Asia in October. Jonathan, you're taking a trip. Again, kind of like Texas, this is not a foreign country.
although some people consider it.
But it's where Jonathan's from, and we'll be working with the church plant. Tell us a little bit about that trip.
Absolutely. So I'm from Long Island, New York, originally. And Long Island is a place where it's very hard for the gospel to penetrate.
Yeah.
But there are some brave souls out there that God has called to plant some new works, to plant some churches. And we'll be going out there to support one of the church plants that are new to our kind of association, Pastor Mike Giraputo. So we'll be working with him out there in Long Island.
Cool. Well, you know what? Let me tell you about another place. I'm just going to say the Middle East, guys. But I will give you a hint that Jesus walked around this place a whole lot. Mm-hmm. He did. And we'll be going there to work with some friends.
Long Island.
We'll be going, no. The Middle East. And it's a great place. And it'll be November the 2nd through the 10th. And we'll be working with kids. We'll be doing a variety of things. We'll be working with older kids, some younger kids, and we'll be working in this country. And then we're working on right now, and when you say working on, what does that mean? Well, sometimes, guys, we have to work with our missionaries that are on the ground, and it does take a while to get those dates and get those fixed, and sometimes they'll shift. But we've got a couple of trips planned to one of our partnerships, another place in the Middle East. And a lot of times this is a place where there's a lot of refugees coming into this country. And what a great opportunity. They are hungry. Mm-hmm. They're tired of what their religion has done. And so they're looking for answers. And I've seen some incredible things happen in this country. And so we'll be working with refugees. So anytime you have any questions about all of this, they should just call us, email us, missions@Liberty Live. And so, stuff like that. Now, here's the thing. You're thinking, Jonathan's talking about local community. We're talking about reaching people right here. How do I know how to do that? Next week, we're going to start a 6-part series.
That's right.
And we're going to be teaching how to help you be able to reach out into our community. I see Liberty Live Church in this local community. I see us a lot like when you pour water over sand. And how that water seeps into the sand and it just becomes a part of that sand almost. But you know what? That water can go places where a lot of things can't go. And so that's what you are in the community. And so we're going to be talking about really, Jonathan, different topics. Like we're going to be talking about the king point of Christianity. How do we know that's true? We're going to start there. But we're also going to start sharing, how do you share the gospel? We're not going to give you a canned program, but we're going to talk about things about storying, orality, how to use a thing about telling stories in a short time. We're going to be having some people come down from the IMB to help us learn how to do that. And that'll start on February the 8th. That's when that'll come out. And we'll go for 6 weeks on that.
That's
so,
right.
Any final words that you'd like to say?
Ken, there's a quote. It's pretty much just as good as any quote you'll get out there in the mission field. And it's, blessed are the flexible.
For they will not be bent out of shape.
That's right. So be flexible with us. We've shared plenty of dates with you. Some of them are TBA, to be announced. And when you're out there on the field, or serving in your community, things come up. But hey, that's just missions. You and I are
Yeah.
used to that
Yeah.
a great deal. So, but yeah, guys, we love you and encourage you to jump on board. Any opportunity that's out there, pray and see what God is calling you to. He's calling you to something. He's not calling you to nothing.
I'm not calling you to nothing. So.
That's right. So,
Well, you know what? We appreciate you joining us, and we look forward to seeing you in the future. Thank you.